Welcome to the English Tales, where every story whispers a little magic, and every word weaves a world of wonder. Settle in, and let the tales begin. Today, listen to a medieval romance by Mark Twain. It was night. Silence had spread across the old, vast feudal castle of Kugestian. The year 1222 was drawing to a close. In the distance, a solitary light flickered in the tallest tower of the castle. A secret meeting was taking place there. The old and stern lord of Kugestian sat on the royal throne, lost in deep thought. After a while, he spoke in a soft tone. "Daughter." A young man, dressed entirely in feudal attire from head to toe, with features reflecting his noble lineage, responded, "Yes, father." "My child, the time has come for me to reveal the secret that has kept your entire youth shrouded in mystery. I am now going to disclose the matters at its core. My brother, Ulrich, is the Grand Duke of Brandenburg. On his deathbed, my father declared that if Ulrich had no son but I did, then my descendants would inherit the title. If neither of us had a son but only daughters, then Ulrich's daughter would become the heiress, provided she remained unblemished. If she failed to meet that condition, then the inheritance would pass to my daughter, as long as she too remained without any stain on her name. That is why my wife and I prayed day and night for a son. But all our prayers went unanswered. You were born to us. My despair knew no bounds. I felt the vast estate slipping from my hands. My golden dream seemed to fade and vanish. Yet, I held on to hope, for despite 5 years of marriage, Ulrich's wife had been unable to bear him a child. "Wait," I said to myself. "Not everything is lost yet." A plan for survival flashed through my mind. You were born at midnight. Only the doctor, the nurse, and 6 attendants knew whether a son or a daughter had been born to us. Within an hour, I had all of them executed. By the next morning, when the announcement was made, the entire feudal class was filled with joy and celebration that a son had been born in Kugestian, the future heir of the mighty Brandenburg. And the secret has remained hidden to this day. Your mother's sister raised you in your early years. Later, as you grew older, we had no reason for concern. When you were 10 years old, Ulrich had a daughter. We were deeply troubled. We hoped for measles, the schemes of healers, or other natural foes of infants to intervene, but our hopes were in vain. She lived, she grew, may God destroy her. But no matter. We are still safe because, do we not have a son? Is our son not the future Duke? My dear Conrad, is that not so? For in all your 28 years, no one has ever called you by any other name. I have learned that my brother has been seized by old age. He has grown weak. Governance exhausts him. Therefore, he wishes for you to come to him and serve as acting duke, even if you do not yet hold the title. Your attendants are ready, and you must depart tonight. Now listen to me very carefully. Remember every word I say. There is a law as old as Germany itself. If a woman, even for a moment, sits upon the duke's throne before her official coronation, her punishment is death. Therefore, feign humility. Deliver your rulings from the chair placed beside the throne, the Prime Minister's seat. Do this until your coronation is complete, and you are truly secure. Whether you're a man or a woman, there is no chance of discovery. Still, in this world full of conspiracies, it is always wise to remain as safe as possible. Ah, Father! Is this why my life has been nothing but a lie? To deceive my own cousin and steal what is rightfully hers? Forgive me, Father. Forgive your daughter. What is this, you insolent girl? After all the careful planning I have done to secure immense wealth for you, this is how you repay me. By my father's oath, your sentimentality disgusts me. Depart at once to the Duke and do not interfere with my plans. This much of the conversation is enough to understand what must have happened. The poor, kind-hearted girl's tears were of no use. Neither her weeping nor any other plea could soften the heart of the old, ruthless lord of Kugestian. In the end, with a heavy heart, she watched as the gates of the castle closed behind her. She set out on her journey into the dark night, escorted by armored warriors, brave soldiers, and loyal attendants. After his daughter had left, the old lord sat in silence for a few moments. Then, turning to his sorrowful wife, he said, "It seems our goal is quickly approaching completion. 3 months ago, I sent the cunning and handsome Countess to my brother's daughter to fulfill my devilish plan. If he fails, we will not be completely safe. But if he succeeds, then no power in this world will be able to stop our daughter from becoming the Duke. My heart is filled with fear. May everything turn out well. Bah! Woman, do not speak ill omens. Go to bed and dream of Brandenburg's glory." Festivities and tears. 6 days after these events, the grand capital of Brandenburg was glowing with the splendor of military displays. Everywhere, the joyous uproar of loyal subjects filled the air, for the young heir to the throne, Conrad, had arrived. The old duke's heart was overflowing with happiness. Conrad's handsome presence and gentle demeanor had immediately won his affection. The vast halls of the palace were filled with nobles, who welcomed Conrad with a hero's reception. Everything seemed bright and joyful. He felt as though his fears and sorrows were fading away, replaced by a soothing sense of relief. But in a distant chamber of the palace, a different emotion was taking shape. The Duke's only daughter, Lady Constance, stood by the window. Her eyes were red and swollen, filled with tears. She was alone. Once again, she broke into sobs and murmured to herself, "The wicked Dezen is gone. He has fled from our kingdom." At first, I refused to believe it. But alas, it is true. I dared to love him, even though I knew well that my father the Duke would never permit our marriage. I loved him, but now I hate him. I hate him with all the depths of my soul. Oh, what will become of me? I am ruined. I will go mad. The mystery deepens. Months passed. The young Conrad's rule was being praised everywhere. His wise decisions, his kindness in dispensing justice, and the humility with which he carried the great Duke's responsibilities were all being lauded. Before long, the old Duke handed over everything to him. He would sit back in silence, watching his heir administer state affairs from the Prime Minister's seat with pride and satisfaction. It was evident that Conrad, who commanded such respect, honor, and love from everyone, should have been happy. But surprisingly, he was not. He was deeply alarmed to realize that Princess Constance had fallen in love with him. The love of the rest of the world was his fortune, but this was a terrible danger. He had also learned that the Duke was aware of her love and was overjoyed about it. The Duke had even begun dreaming of their marriage. Day by day, the sorrowful gloom on the princess's face was fading, Hopeful glimmers began to shine in her eyes. The face that had once been filled with distress now bore the traces of a smile. Conrad was terrified. He cursed his own nature, which had unwittingly made someone of his own gender desire him. He felt alienated in the palace and longed for sympathy. Sympathy that could only come from a woman. He began to avoid his sister, but this only made matters worse. The more he distanced himself, the more she sought his company. At first, he was puzzled by this, but soon he became utterly frightened. It seemed as though she was always following him. He felt as if she were with him at all times, day and night, everywhere he went. His distress grew unbearable. It felt as if there was some hidden mystery behind it all. This could not go on forever. The matter became a subject of gossip throughout the kingdom. Even the Duke seemed troubled by it. Poor Conrad was overwhelmed by fear and agony. One day, as he was leaving a chamber adjacent to his gallery, Constance suddenly appeared before him. She seized both his hands in hers and pleaded, "Oh, why do you run away from me? What have I done? What have I said that has made you withdraw your kindness from me? For surely you were once kind. Conrad, do you hate me? Have mercy on me. I cannot bear your silence and indifference. It will kill me. Conrad, I love you. If you must hate me, then do so, but at least tell me so openly." Conrad stood motionless, stunned into silence. Constance hesitated for a moment. She misinterpreted his silence. A sudden intensity of joy flashed in her eyes. She threw her arms around his neck and exclaimed, "Your heart is melting! You are melting! You can love me! You will love me! Say it, won't you? My Conrad, I adore you!" Conrad let out a deep, anguished groan. His face turned pale. His body trembled. In utter despair, he pushed her away and said, "You do not know what you are asking of me. This is impossible, forever impossible." Then, like a guilty man, he fled. The princess stood there, stunned and bewildered. A minute later, the princess was weeping and sobbing in despair, while Conrad, in his chamber, was also weeping and sobbing. Both were devastated. Both felt as if destruction loomed before them. Slowly, Constance steadied herself on her feet. As she walked away, she murmured, "When I thought his cruel heart was finally melting, he still hated me. I hate him too. He pushed me away like a dog. He despised me." The terrifying revelation. Time passed. A permanent sadness once again settled upon the face of the Duke's daughter. Conrad and she were never seen together anymore. The Duke was troubled by this. But after a few more weeks, Conrad's complexion regained its color, and the old sparkle returned to his eyes. He resumed governing the state with his usual clarity of judgment. Then, a strange whisper began circulating within the palace. It grew louder, spreading far and wide. This rumor echoed throughout the entire realm. Princess Constance has given birth to a child. When Lord Kugestian heard this, he spun his hat thrice upon his head and shouted excitedly, "Long live Duke Conrad! Now his crown is secured. Detson has done his job brilliantly. That fine scoundrel shall be handsomely rewarded." He ensured that this news spread far and wide. For 84 hours, celebrations erupted across his entire domain. Everywhere, people rejoiced in honor of the old Lord Kugestian. A terrifying calamity. The trial had begun. All the great lords and barons of Brandenburg were present in the grand courtroom of justice. There was not a single vacant spot left for any spectator to sit or stand. Dressed in robes of purple and white fur, Conrad sat on the Prime Minister's chair. On either side of him were the Chief Justices of the state. The aging Duke had issued strict orders that his daughter's trial should proceed without any leniency. After that, heartbroken, he had taken to his bed. He was now merely a guest in this world for a few more days. Poor Conrad had pleaded earnestly to be excused from presiding over the trial of his own sister's crime, but his request was denied. Among all those present, if any heart was the heaviest with sorrow, it was Conrad's. The most jubilant heart belonged to his father. Conrad was unaware that the old Lord Kugestin was also present amidst the gathering of nobles. He was overflowing with joy at the immense wealth that was soon to fall upon his family. Once the heralds had made their announcements and the initial formalities were completed, the Honorable Chief Justice spoke. Let the accused rise. The grief-stricken princess stood before the massive crowd, without any veil to shield her. The Lord Chief Justice continued. Honorable Lady, it has been proven before the esteemed judges of this realm that you have given birth to a child. The punishment for this crime is death. Acting Duke, Lord Conrad, will now deliver the official verdict. Prepare yourself to listen carefully. A chilling revelation. Conrad raised his royal scepter. At the same moment, the heart of a woman hidden within his chest melted for the prisoner. His eyes welled up with tears. He had just opened his lips to deliver the verdict when the Chief Justice immediately interrupted. Not from there, Your Highness. Not from there. You cannot deliver a verdict for a member of the ducal family from that seat. That would not be just. You must pronounce your judgment from the throne. Poor Conrad's heart trembled. Even the steely body of his aged father shuddered. Conrad had not yet been officially crowned. Could he dare to sit on the throne? He hesitated. Fear drained the color from his face. But there was no way out now. All eyes were fixed on him in astonishment. If he delayed any further, those astonished gazes would turn into doubtful ones. He walked over and sat on the throne. Then, raising the royal scepter, he declared, "Prisoner, on behalf of our great Duke of Brandenburg, Lord Ulrich, I am about to fulfill the duty entrusted to me. Listen carefully to my words. According to the ancient laws of the state, if you do not name your accomplice and surrender him to the executioner, you will certainly be sentenced to death. You still have a chance to save your life. Reveal the name of your child's father." A profound silence fell over the courtroom, so absolute that people could hear their own heartbeats. The princess slowly turned. Hatred burned in her eyes. She raised her finger and pointed it directly at Conrad. "You are that man." The sudden accusation sent a shiver through Conrad's body, a shiver as chilling as death itself. What power in the world could save him now? To escape this charge, he would have to reveal the truth, that he was, in fact, a woman. And according to the law, sitting on the ducal throne without a formal coronation was punishable by death, especially for a woman. He and his aged father collapsed to the ground, unconscious. The rest of this hair-raising story will not be found here or in any other book. Not now, not ever. The truth is, I have trapped my hero and heroine in such an impossible situation that I myself cannot figure out how to get them out of it. So I'm washing my hands of the matter and stepping away forever. Now, I leave it to them. Whether they find a way out or remain forever in this predicament. At first, I thought a solution would eventually emerge. But now, it seems impossible to me. Thank you for joining us on this journey through words and wonder. Until our next tale, stay curious and keep dreaming.